Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the European crossover webinar. I started a couple minutes late. I kind of lost track of time. I'll tell you what, when I looked at everything where it was at, specifically the dollar CAD, holy smokes, well, really the 6C, you can see it right here. Holy smokes, man, this is, I actually, we've been tracking it, and then I even caught a short in Asia. I didn't end up, well, I did hang on it for a little while, but there wasn't much to it, and I was able to. I mean, I got out with a little bit, a couple of nickels, but as it started to come a little bit lower, yeah, I thought to myself, you know what, forget it, because overall we're still pretty strong. You know, because you look at the way the close was in here, we can still go higher. And we are punching. I mean, we're not going overboard, but we are really in a key area here. We got past the 73, 72, and was kind of my stretch area if we got up here to 73.80. But man, look at the spoos. I mean, we'll get to that. It's a 30.92. We did have a heck of a strong close yesterday. In the minute after we started to pull back, we traded 111,000 contracts in 1 minute as the market pulled back, 12 handles. So anyway, like I said, I got a little bit kind of get wrapped up in time, and next thing I'm looking like, what the heck? It's actually time to start the webinar. So hopefully some other people got a chance to go and pop in right now. Started a little bit late. Let's go on and grab the economic data. Hang on. And can you believe it? Already into July. Holy smokes. So we did have a German retail sales come in, and wow, nice impressive gain right here in German retail sales. And speaking of impressive, obviously we're seeing the euro work a little bit higher in here, but nice move here. Reuters polls for up 3.9%, was up 13.9%. I'm seeing some of these highs being hit. Like, look at this, the 6C, obviously, SPOOs, we'll get to that, 30.90. We've already been as high as 30.92. Euro pushing higher here. But anyway, we did get the UK housing price data, as well as I mentioned, the German retail sales. Did get Spanish manufacturing PMI, as well as Italian market manufacturing, which came in pretty much in line with what we were looking for. And then take a look at German data right here. We did have manufacturing PMI, which came in a little bit stronger, and then German unemployment here. They're looking for 129,000, only got 69,000. And certainly we're seeing better performance. It's not going overboard. I'm talking about the euro. We can go on and take a quick look here. Let's go to the 30-minute then. We're pushing a little bit hard. It's not like we're going gangbusters. We'll get to the cash dollar index too. I think, like I said, I thought despite yesterday, I thought we could have done better, and we didn't quite get up to that 97.89. We came close though. So anyway, going forward, as we roll into the States, and we do have non-farm payroll on Thursday as opposed to Friday, because here in the States we'll be recognizing the 4th of July holiday on Friday, meaning government offices close and so forth, although kind of strange anyway, because with the coronavirus we already have impacts anyway, but nonetheless we'll have at 7:15. Seems odd having this on this date, but anyway, we're going to have ADP, which that would actually be normal here, actually. ADP, and then market manufacturing PMI. So got a pretty good bevy of data. And then we have ISM manufacturing PMI. And it makes me kind of wonder, Thursday we'll have non-farm payroll, but we actually would have jobless claims at the same time. Kind of strange. But anyway, nonetheless, let's go and look here. We'll also have ISM manufacturing, which is they're looking for 49.5. But like I said, ADP is going to be out this morning. So let's go in and move in over here. Let me move this out of the way. And let's take a look at the cable. So Amanda mentioned cables testing 124. Wow, we had a pretty big run up here, cable. Holy smokes. Look at this. I was really just taking a look at the 6C. I got up and taking a quick look at the spoos at the time, but let's take a look where we stand with the cable. Well, we have done some pretty good work here in the cable. As we tested lower, we're kind of pushing up a little bit here. Trying to make a move above this particular VWAP here, which that VWAP goes, pull this back, goes all the way from the March lows. So we'd actually pushed below it. See how we pushed below it and came back up? So if we can push, and we're actually breaking at the moment this trend line. So maybe get a little bit further move on this. Do that. And of course, let's go and take a look here where we stand here on the euro. Just gently moving higher, but nice move higher here with cable. That 6E. This is really a key area, the 7380. 73.9 would be the 78%, but one of the key things that I've looked at this, we closed right on this. So at the time, I thought to myself, there's still a chance that we can still move higher. We backed off, but not that much. We just backed off to 73.63. So, man, anybody that stood in the way of this thing is just getting absolutely smoked to a certain extent. I mean, it's not like we went another, 75 pips or something like that, but we're certainly working higher here. And really what you want to look at is basically in Asia, even though the range wasn't that much. Look at the cable. Right there, we're coming into some resistance here. Right there. This way, I guess it's 24.15-ish. That's in the 6B. And I think the cable, let me take a look here one moment. 24.07, 24.13. Yeah, so it's still trading at a 6-tick premium here. But a little bit of a level here. Let's see how they respond here. And let's go on and take a look at the spoons. We were at end of month as well as end of quarter, but this move was something else that we saw here on the close. They really took off like gangbusters. And actually, as we pared back a bit, and if you look in this bar, this is when they actually traded 111,000 contracts in 1 minute, but on the way down. You see what I'm saying? So we'd already hit the high, and we actually started to come back down, and I think it's between 30.95 to 30.83, 111,000 contracts. I mean, golly. But we've really, I tell you what, I'm glad that I've been actually focusing a bit on the currency futures versus the spoons, because they've been, like I said, I mentioned yesterday that the moves seem so much cleaner in FX. But this market, I'm just surprised from not only we opened up on Sunday, but we've seen that before, a week before, where we've seen the market rally within 1 day. From Sunday to Monday, it rallied 100 handles. But certainly, like I said, look here, we're going again here, and the move from the opening on Sunday to where we were now, and look at us pushing higher. If we take a look here on the 2 hour, we're certainly trying to press a little bit higher here. You can see right there at 30.96. We'll see if they can make another run on here. Let's bear with me. And let's heck of a move. I guess we, normally you'd want to go from the highest point, and we can do just that. That's what we should do, but I'm looking at a fib here, so bear with me. So 31.18 would be the 78%. I wouldn't doubt it the way these moves have been acting. So with that, let me just go in and grab some news here. Bear with me. So the dollar bides time ahead of U.S. manufacturing and jobs data. The dollar held steady against the euro on Wednesday ahead of the data expected to show U.S. manufacturing activity and hiring continue to recover from the economic shock caused by the coronavirus pandemic. The euro was hemmed into a narrow range as traders awaited the data on Germany's manufacturing sector, which we just covered, and retail sales, and the jobless rate to gauge the health of the Eurozone economy. The yen firmed slightly on the safe haven flows after a top government specialist said Japan could reimpose state of emergency responses to the coronavirus. And another thing is, and that's been borne out by the data we just saw this morning. I was thinking yesterday, I'm thinking that the dollar is potentially suspect, and I'm thinking potentially we could even come back down. Actually, our bias chart support today is still going to be, well, then we moved a little bit closer, but I still like that key level of 97.05 if we're to see a turnaround. Although I'm a bit surprised because the Eurozone data you can see here was surprising to the upside to a certain extent. And I would have thought that the euro would be much stronger at this point. I guess you best be careful and be wary considering how well the cable has responded in kind. But anyway, nonetheless, we'll move on. A surge in new infections in the U.S. and Southwest has worried some market participants, but most investors are betting this will not be enough to derail a broader rebound in the global economy. The dollar will be support against the yen if the U.S. economic data are positive, but U.S. yields are not rising much because of the speculation ahead of yield curve control, said Sushuki Yamada, FX strategist with Merrill Lynch. The euro looks stable, but there are questions about Brexit and the pace of economic reopenings, which means the euro could be overvalued. The euro held steady at 12.23 against the pound. The common currency traded at 90.77 pence. The yen edged up to 7.63 per dollar. The yen barely reacted after the Bank of Japan showed business sentiment fell to an 11-year low. U.S. Institute for Supply Management Purchasing Managers Index for manufacturing due later on Wednesday is forecast to show that activity in June continued to recover from an 11-year low marked in April when the coronavirus paralyzed large swaths of the global economy. The onshore yuan was a little changed at 7.065 per dollar, and some investors are wary of diplomatic tensions over Beijing over new security law from for the former British colony of Hong Kong, which came into effect on Wednesday. National Treasury yields would rise due to an improving economy, but the benchmark 10-year yields have moved to the narrow range of 0.65 since mid-June, when the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell and said policymakers discussed a yield curve control which can be used to cap bond yields. And because we were mentioning the Canadian dollar, let's go and take a look at this. Hang on. So the Canadian dollar weakened against the U.S. counterpart on Tuesday, giving up some of its month's gains as the Sino-U.S. tensions rose and domestic data showed a record economic contraction in April. Canada's real gross domestic product plunged 11.6% in April from March. Now, this was in the morning, but we saw a turnaround, so I was thinking this was going to be, generally when we get the the Canadian information, it'll be like end of the trading day. Well, that's not the case because, as I said, we've seen a pretty big move in the 6C, and the dollar CAD right now is trading at 35.51. I did have support here. We'll get to that, 35.48. So it's it was a tad a little bit weaker, but we're in that area, so we'll see how we react. Okay, and let me just, I was looking to see if we had the other overall equity story that comes out, but it has not come out. No, it has not. So we'll go with this one here. Stocks are drifting soft havens sought as virus fears cast shadow over the economy. S&P 500 futures fell 0.5%, and European futures were slightly negative. Some had been boosted by signs that China's factories are slowly gathering steam, with the cakes and market manufacturing PMI rising to 51.2 compared with 15.5. That following the U.S. firm housing data, it was accompanied by a surge in U.S. virus cases, a survey showing Japanese businesses' mood souring and fears of growing Sino-U.S. tensions. We did see that. We covered that. Bank of Japan noted an 11-year low, but like I said, we're not getting much of a dent in equity futures. And then just some geopolitical news. So with that, we're just going to move into the analysis. And I'm still holding pretty steady here in the 6C, and nice move here in cable. Very nice move. But we are coming up against that VWAP off of the March lows, and we'll get to that again before we start the analysis. Right here. So just a little bit, we mentioned here we have that level right there, and just a little bit of a pause here. But still a very decent move here, pushing a little bit higher here in cable. Let's go on and move into the analysis. This out of the way. Okay, the euro closed on Tuesday at almost the same price on Monday. Euro appears to be stuck in a range until the dollar decides what it wants to do. Perhaps end of the month flows may have kept the pair in check. Resistance on Wednesday will be 1267, firming up a little bit here, with support at 1183. So Tighten it up a bit here. And 1183. And let's go on moving into the cable. So the cable found buyers after testing the lows, the low end post GDP data, because yesterday we really came back down there and made a move towards this 2250. We'd already made that run yesterday. We talked about this whole area. We mentioned from this low in here, that was it going to be like 2070. This pullback had just exceeded the 78%. Then from the low back here in the 1450, we had already come down to 38%. And we not only came down there, but we made a run at it yesterday, as I said, post GDP data. Support will be 23.28 with resistance at 24.24. Well, we're actually just about there, but 24.24 for resistance. And support 23.28. On to the Aussie. So the Aussie closed above the prior 3 days high, or above the prior 3 days, albeit only slightly higher. Because you can see here the move that we had. Look at this. We were trading such a tight range. We did close above those, but it wasn't like we went gangbusters. Resistance remains 69.31, but we will move the support up to 68.41. So let's go here. 69.31, but we will move the support to 68.41 here. And like I said, to say it close above the prior 3 days, you can see right here. Actually, you can see 4 days, but you almost would sound quite impressive, which really you can't. This Aussie is like a helium balloon. It just doesn't want to go down. But it wasn't like we took off like crazy. So resistance still remains here at 69.31. With that, we'll move into the Kiwi. So the Kiwi challenged bias chart support at 63.83 and held, closing at 64.50. Resistance remains 64.93 with support now at 64 even. So 64.93, it's still going to be resistance here. And the only difference is that the support, just like with the Aussie, is going to pick up a little bit. So we're moving that to 64 even. And let's go on with the dollar CAD. So the dollar CAD broke through 136, closing at key support of 35.72. You can see that right there. There was 35.72. We're actually still pushing a little bit lower. Support will be 35.48 with resistance at 36.18. So I had it for 35.48. You can see right here, but we've already pressed here at 35.43. But I'm still going to go and keep this. Now, if we punch lower, we'll see. But you can see here down at 35.01. Let's pull this down a bit here. There we go. But we'll stick with the 35.48. We're a bit stretched here. But really, the dollar CAD, all you have to do is look at the screws, and it's just trading right with them. And And resistance we put in here for 36.18. That seems a bit a ways away. Right here, this bar here, the low for that day was 36.07. We'll go with that 36.07 as this market continues to move further away. Now let's go into the dollar peso. So the dollar peso pressed the upside on Tuesday, but was not capable, or you can put incapable, of taking out the bias chart resistance, which was 23.28. Resistance will remain 23.28 with support now at 22.64. Right now the low is 22.78. So it's going to be 22.64. And as we break lower, we'll keep this 23.28. I mean, if you were scalping this, you definitely wouldn't want this to get back above 23.07. And the high so far of the morning has been like 22.08. We know it couldn't take out 23.28, but realistically, let's go and take a look on the 2-hour chart and see if we can find something a little bit closer in between. Yeah, you see right there, right there. 23.10. You call it basically 23.11. We'll go with that, but we are pulling away anyway. So 23.11. And the dollar yen. The dollar yen took out resistance on Tuesday at 778, closing near 108. Resistance will be 823 with support at 760, and the high today has been 816. So resistance is 823. With support at 760. Actually, look at that. We've actually come down to 744. Interesting. So we had 760. And we're still pressed below that at this time. Let's go and take a look here on a 2-hour chart and see if we can find something a little bit closer here. Well, you can see right here, but let's give it some room to work a little bit lower. $743. Let's go right. Let's go right there. 742. 742. So it'll be today's bias chart support. 742. A little bit of a turnaround here on that dollar yen after really getting things going. And interesting that the high was 816, and look how quickly we've really turned it around and gone right back. After knocking some people out yesterday, we turned around and roll all the way back down here. It's really interesting. If you are picking it up, that would be key there, that 742. Let's go move into the cash dollar index. The dollar index paired back after challenging 97.89. That was our buy chart support resistance we've been talking about throughout since the beginning of the week. Is it's key that we need to for bulls to get above that. The pair may be open to a pullback all the way to support 97.03 with resistance remaining 97.89. So we're going to go with that key level that we had at the beginning of the week. We offered it some room yesterday, but once again, like I said, I think you have to look for this thing. Potentially it could pair back, especially with new quarter. So let's go back to 97.03. And once again, 97.89 is still going to be key. So let's now go and move into the cross rates. So taking a look here with the Kiwi Yen, we did see a nice close yesterday. And whether we can push this a little bit further, and who's to argue against the Kiwi? Um, Resistance is going to be this key 70.10. And we'll take a look at a 2 hour, get a little bit closer look. You can see there's going to be support right there, 69.20. Mm-hmm. And take a look at the Euro Yen. We did have 21.51, and it came very close to hitting it. Came up just a little bit shy. High was 21.47. We had resistance at 21.51. Turned a bit south today. We're still going to keep the 21.51 because they just hit it or just about hit it. But we've seen that. I want to go as far as to say dramatic turnaround, but we saw quite the turnaround in the dollar yen. We're seeing it here with the euro yen. Support, let's go and take a look at the 2 hour chart. With a little bit of an overshoot here, that would take us to 2062. So that's going to be our support, 2062. Going to the euro odd. Well, this market hasn't moved anywhere. I mean, we've moved a little bit lower from yesterday, but support and resistance is going to remain the same. We're actually below 62.56. I'll look up at that. So let's go and take a look at a 2 hour chart. That will be support right there, 62.27. With resistance at 63.19. We'll move into the Euro Kiwi. Same thing, just edging a bit lower here. This one is still holding above what we've had listed for support, 73.53. That's going to remain the same. The only difference is resistance is going to be the close right there from yesterday, which would be 75 even. And then on to the Aussie Yen. Well, we did finally punch in. Yesterday, we weren't very much higher at the time as we tried to break above this triangle. We have pushed and we are above 74.26. We closed above that. So it does open the door for us to move a bit higher, but we're kind of floundering a bit here. And we know we've seen some interesting moves here already in the yen crosses. The resistance is going to be this low right there, which was just above the day's high, 74.73. That will be resistance. We are above that 74.26, but we'll go with, let's go and take a look at a 2-hour chart. Running here, coming across here, see that? That would be support on a break. Right there. Right there, 73.85. If we were to break lower here, 73.85 would be support. Looking at the guppy, a bit of a turnaround here. We'll see whether we can push beyond that. And so that resistance is going to be this key level, 34.32. Not necessarily would hit that today, but that will be a target area for them to move to. So it's going to be 34.32. Support is going to be the high of this day, right there, which is 32.74. No, it's a little bit lower, 32.65. We're still holding here at this low on the starting on 78.60, which will remain as support. Let's go and take a look at this on a 2-hour chart, where they need to get above. Right there, 79.67 for immediate resistance, 79.67. And that does it for FX. We're going to go on and move back in, and we'll take a look at gold and see what that's doing. We certainly had a pretty big move previously on that moment. We are still pressing higher. Look at that. We're above $1,800. We've got the SPOOs not too far away from 3,100, and we are still pressing higher here. Let's see, the 6C. Can't help but think we did get a little bit of a pause in here, but you can't argue what we've made a run to, and there's nothing to suggest a turnaround here. And that was my concern, is you had to be a little bit careful trying to step in front of this until we start to see some inkling of, the market getting a little bit sticky or having a tough time pushing beyond that. Potentially, we could actually make that run all the way up. One of the things about the dollar CAD, and this is the Canadian currency though, once it gets going in a direction, it usually trends for a little bit. So you got to be a little bit careful. But we're still not seeing any kind of reaction in this area. But we had 73.72. Now here at 73.80, we'll have to see what happens, because we could maybe make a run here. This would be a good area, this whole little zone area here, which was my thinking, between 72 to 80. 73, 72, 73, 80 is a good area for a pause, but we're not seeing anything dramatic here. Let's take a look here if there's anything on volume. Not bad here, but once again, it's not as if you're seeing something dramatic or some kind of good turnaround. So we may have to jump all the way up to 73.90, which isn't that much further up. It's like 11 pips, ticks higher, before we really see a good shake up in some volume. But we shall see. But going back to gold, look at this move. Holy smokes. Potentially around 1820. If we're just going to follow this little area right here. This thing is on fire. Take a look at crude oil. Well, it's probably responding to the equities, but look at this. Next level resistance. Well, just what we're right there. 40.41. Let's take a look on a fib. 78% comes in at 40.63. And with the way these SPOOs are trading, although we've come down a little bit here, we could potentially pop make a pop up there. Another 23 cents to get to 78%. But once again, the way these SPUs are trading, we can certainly make another run up there towards 3,100. Same thing here with the SPUs. Remember, I was saying the Canadian currency is trading really close with the SPUs, and we're still seeing these SPUs hold up really well. So that'll do it. I'll go in and get the bias chart posted in the room. Thanks for joining us here in the European crossover webinar, and we'll see you in the chat room.